Hey everyone, this is Chris Buono, and I want to talk to you about performance. What I mean by that is how to perform, how to get ready to perform something from start to finish and make it sound like you own it. I definitely have a process, and it's one that came from trying things and them not working, and some of them working, some of them not working. Just putting it together and ultimately getting to a place where I was consistently starting to perform at the level I wanted to. So I have some notes over here to the left. If you see my head bopping over here, I have an iPad to the left because I wanted to make sure that I didn't leave out anything. In fact, getting ready to do this, I jotted down my process as I did it. Just a couple days ago, I was getting ready for some gigs that were coming up on the weekend. There was a lot of new tunes for this one particular gig, and I definitely had to execute my normal process. So here it is. First thing I do is gather the assets. It's a phrase that always gets thrown around in content creation, so I always am discussing things with publishers and video content creators, and we talk about gathering the assets. For me, in the case of learning music, the asset is the music itself in the form of audio files and also charts, usually both. Now, sure, we're all subscribed to streaming music platforms, Apple Music, Spotify, or otherwise, but you know what? I can't manipulate those files, and it's very hard to deal with those things to learn tunes, so I make sure that I have the files, and if I don't, I get them. Hey, an MP3 on Amazon is $1.29, and when I have to get something done and I want to perform something at a high level, $1.29 is nothing. Come on, coffee is way more expensive. So I'm gathering the tunes in that form. If there's charts out there, sure, I'm trying to save time and I want to be efficient and I want to get to the fun part. I want to get to the playing part. If I have to transcribe, then that's a whole thing in itself. Either way, I'm getting all the things I need to start getting into playing this stuff and getting it ready to perform. Start to finish, no gaps, no nothing, no hesitations, no mistakes, as best as humanly possible. Okay, I have my assets. My next step. And this one might be a little bit of a surprise. I'm not going to play yet. I'm going to listen. Especially to music that I have not heard before. That can be in the form of tunes I've just never run into before, or original music from artists that are sending me demos of what it is they want me to play, or maybe they want me to perform something from their record that they're just putting out. Whatever it is, I'm going to listen to the music that I'm needing to get up to performance level. I want to internalize it. So to do that, anytime that I have free time where I'm not doing something myself, in the form of playing, I'm listening, cleaning up around here, driving around town, run around the house, throw it on the Sonos, whatever the case may be. I want to subliminally, subconsciously get that music to start becoming part of me, because that's a big part of performance, is being in the right headspace. And a great first step is to really listen and get into the music. Now, as I'm doing that, I'm already starting to think about the next part of the process, which is organizing my approach to what I'm going to do to get it to that level. So, that's a good segue. So we're into this part, starting to think about the process. I need to schedule my time. What do I have? Do I have days? Do I have weeks, months? I need to look at the calendar and map out some weekly goals, however the time length is. I'll segment it into reasonable places where I'm going to try to set some goals for myself at certain parts. Hey, I got 5 songs. In 2 days, I need 2 of them. In 3 days, I need to add another one, something like that. Or it's one piece of music. Okay, I'm going to split it into quarters. I'm going to spread that out over 2 or whatever, how many days. You get what I'm saying. A very, very, very important part of this part of the process, the listening / starting to organize and even starting to play. For me, and maybe this is for you too, in the beginning of the process, I've learned that whatever the weak spots, whatever the really challenging stuff is going to be, it's going to present itself right from the start. And man, I wish I admitted that to myself or realized that earlier. Because I've many times have gotten to that performance part where I thought I did the job. I kind of knew I didn't. I thought it would work itself out. And there comes that thing that was always the problem from the get-go, and I didn't properly address it. So, these steps definitely morph into one another as we go along. They don't have to be like tried and true. Okay, I'm at this period, I'm only doing this, and I'm going into this phase and I can't go backwards. No. So, like I said, I've gotten my assets and I'm starting to do the listening and I'm starting to visualize how I'm going to play and I'm starting to organize how I'm going to practice, get the things together. And in that, flowing into the playing part, the very first thing I'm doing is looking for those weak spots. Okay, so I've organized the plan, I'm looking at the weak spots, and I'm starting to actually execute it. I'm learning the parts. In doing so, of course, there's the practice stuff that we've been talking about. I mean, that you always have been talking about. You've learned from teachers and other players and stuff like that, the actual practice thing and the metronome and the timing of stuff. And hopefully you're doing that in an organized way, because that's a big deal. You don't want to waste your time. So some indicators that I use to give me an idea of how well I'm progressing, and this is a headspace playing technique that is very important to me, and that is the ability to look ahead. If I'm able to start looking ahead, I know that I'm progressing well, and okay, great. Now, how much can I look ahead? And however much it is, tells me how far down the road I'm getting. That's the big indicator for me. And it's not just an indicator, it is what is going to steer my performance. Because if you are playing something and you get to the place where things need to change and you are making that decision or executing or thinking about it at the time it's supposed to be done, you are too late and your performance will suffer because of it. You need to look ahead. So that's what you're working towards, and that's what you use to look at how your progression is progressing with what you're learning. In the process of learning parts, it's not just about the notes that you're hearing or the notes on the paper and physically playing them and drilling them. It's also about how you play them and how they sound. Concentrate on the other stuff, the dynamics, the phrasing, the nuance. That is just as important as the actual, where's the pull off, the pick slide, when am I going to do the whammy dive bomb? You have to make things sound like music, and it's not just the chords that you're supposed to play. It is also the inflections, the loudness and the softness. Dynamics is what makes music sound like music and not just something that you're doing. At the same time, play with your sound. There's no reason for you to think that practicing means clean tone. I mean, if the thing you're doing is clean tone, fine. But get the sound that you want and practice right from there, because just like phrasing and the things I was talking about before, these are all things that contribute to making your performance sound great. And they need just as much development as that run that you really want to make sure that you nail and come up with the big bend at the end. It's got to sound good, right? So the tone needs to be there just as much as the technique needs to be there. Also, as you're doing things in that realm, you'll also be ahead of the game if there's a problem mechanically with your gear. Maybe, you need a setup, or the amp, hey, I turned the amp on today and, to where I want it to be, and it's a little fizzly crackly. I got to take care of that stuff. This is not things you want to find out coming up to a performance, if that is the goal here. And remember, performance, it can take on many forms. It could be a gig in front of people. It could be something for family. It could be just you personally want to do something. Maybe you want to shoot a video and you're starting your own social media thing, or just purely because you want to. You want to perform something. You want to play a song from start to finish. Well, when the time is upon you, you want everything to be in place. The more you're ahead on everything, the more that moment is going to be what you want it to be. So, in the name of making that schedule and starting to learn the parts and doing this process, you have to commit. You have to dial in and make a deal with yourself that you're going to stick to the schedule that you've made, accept these goals, and also accept the fact that it maybe not going to go that way and you're not going to quit. And at the same time, you're going to turn off the noise. You want to perform something, you need to be dialed in. And in order to do that, you have to turn off the noise. You have to close the laptop, close the email browser, get rid of the social media, get the phone out of the room, no notifications, no nothing. And if you can, close the door and don't have, your loved ones coming in and bugging you. Come on, give yourself 20 minutes a day, half hour a day, just to yourself, to do your thing and enjoy it. Because if you're not enjoying it, you're probably not going to get to a good performance level. So, yeah, block it all out. Give yourself some time as much as you can to totally focus in and do all the stuff that I just mentioned to make that happen. At the same time, that schedule, make it into a checklist. Monitor your progress. Have some way of, I learned at one point that something very satisfactory and something very healthy to do is have a checklist and literally go through the action of going, checking it off. And I'm telling you, I find it to be hugely, satisfying to when I mark off a part of the goal. I mean, I have all kinds of jobs going on with the guitar, and I have notes, and I have little field notebooks and stuff like that, and I can't wait to get the red ink and just go, this and mark it off or done or whatever the case may be. So these are all headspace things. Performance is a huge head game. So the more that you do to prep for your performance, the better that performance is going to be. I promise you that. So, you have to work on the head just as much as you do the hands. Okay, you're playing, you're getting it together, you've done all this other work that I've been talking about, and you want to really start to make it solidify, to cure this thing. Some of the things that I do to do that are, a little unorthodox. One of them is, this is a big one, and I learned this starting all the way back to my video days with Guitar One magazine, where I was the headless stunt guitarist. That was the nickname. I only had a few days to do, let's say, 50 to 60 examples. Some of them were simple, some of them were not. Some of them were long, some of them were short. Whatever the case may be, it was a lot. So I needed to play some things that I would love to have had more time, but I don't. I didn't. So I would learn things. I only had to play it once. It was a short thing, relatively. Even the long ones were short. I only had to play it once to get it done, to get that video back to New York. Okay. Well, one of the tricks was take it, learn it, ingest it, play it faster than I need to. And then when the time comes to actually play it where I'm supposed to, I just felt like I had that much more confidence. Playing it faster than I needed to definitely was a little warts and all type of thing, but the headspace thing totally worked, as well as pushing the physical thing. It was a total mind game, and it worked almost every time. And another big one in this specific type of performance was sometimes things are just not happening, and accept that. Walk away. And this could also just be, something that will pertain to your practicing. You're just not connecting. Stop it. Do something else or walk away. Simply just get up and go get the drink of water. Come back. I'm telling you, you'll be surprised at how many times you sit down and just go, oh, there it is. So take some space, mental space, and this and that. Also, I like to change parameters on myself. This is another big gauge of how well I'm getting that performance level to that place where I really feel like I got it. I'll change things. You have more than one guitar? Play what you've been playing on a different guitar. It could even be an acoustic, if you're doing things on electric. You're sitting down a lot? Stand up, whether the performance is going to require it or not. Just change parameters. It's making you consider what it is you're playing a little differently, and it makes you connect to it that much more. Trust me, these things do work. Walk out of the room, go to a different place. Get some people to watch you play, especially if the performance is going to be in front of people, whether that's family members or a few friends, this and that. Taking new ideas to your band members. Change the parameter. Don't keep doing the same thing the same way every single time, because trust me, that situation that you're doing it in, that's not where you're going to perform if you're leaving the house. Or the part where you don't have the camera on, because when it goes on, that's a different parameter. Train yourself to react good to different parameters in performance, because that's what the performance is going to have built into it. Okay, so that's pretty much how I will get to the place where I'm ready to go, no matter what it is. Here's a little extra credit thing when it comes to the actual part about playing in front of people, and if it's a gig that you're working up to perform at a gig. And these are things that mean a lot to me because they took a while to learn these things too. If you're bringing stuff with you, pack it up not the day of, not the DOS, the day of show. I know for me, I will inevitably forget something. Funny enough, it'll probably be that iPad that's right next to me. But something, I'm going to forget something the day of. Pack the day before, a few days before. Test out your stuff if you haven't already done it in your practicing process. Be ahead of the game. Day of show, do all the things that you should be doing anyway. Take care of you. Because remember I said, performance is just as much physical as it is head game. So in order to be dialed in well with your head, take care of your head. Take care of your mind and body and spirit. Get a good night's sleep. Eat that day. Eat well. Drink water. Do all the stuff. Take care of the soul. Because that's what you're tapping into to play, to perform. Make sense? Yeah, I know. It does. Because I've been doing this and I've crashed so many times that I just started to listen to the things and see the things that I was doing wrong and properly address them. Going all the way back to addressing the weak spots, to sticking to the schedule, to turning off the noise, especially in these complicated, sensationalized times. These are all things that will get you to that performance level that you're looking to get to. So yeah, performing, you can do it. I totally believe that you can. Because you can, and you will, because you'll go through this process, or one that is tailored for you. I look forward to seeing what you do, and I thank you for listening. This is Chris Buono. See you soon.